Hello, welcome back. This is Lucas Robokey, and in this lesson we are going to introduce UI Router into eggly so that we can start to navigate between the unique states that occur as a result of user interaction. Let me give you an example. If a user selects a design category, that would result in a unique state in the application of showing only the design bookmarks. An extension of that idea would be if a user clicks on Edit for a bookmark, that state of editing that bookmark is unique. UI Router allows us to define and navigate between these states in a really flexible, easy, yet powerful way. The beauty of UI Router is that if you understand how to use ng-route, it is really easy to leap from one to the other, as routes and states often share the same components. For instance, a state could have an optional URL path, a template URL, and a controller. From there, the similarities tend to kind of end as UI Router gives us a lot more functionality. The most notable one is the ability to have named or nested views, which we will get into in the next lesson. But for now, let's build out our first state just to see this in action and how this actually looks. So the first thing we need to do is to jump into our HTML and add in the UI Router source code. I have this stored in the vendor directory. And then the next thing we need to do from there is add in the UI Router submodule so that it is available for the entire eggly application. There we go. And so let's build out our first state. We're going to do this in the config block. And we're going to inject state provider, which is the mechanism for defining your states. And so we'll define our first state as eggly. And then the second parameter of this is essentially a configuration object. And we're going to give it a URL of /, which is essentially the absolute or the root of the eggly application. Then we're going to give it a template URL of app categories So for now, we're just going to store everything in the categories template. And then we will define the controller as main controller since it is handy and functional. And so let's hop into our HTML. And what I'm going to do here is I am going to chop out most of the HTML that we have here. And on this div with the container fluid, I am going to attach this UI view attribute. So using ng-route, it would be ng-view. In this case, it is UI view. Let's hop into the categories template. And for now, I'm just going to do h1 hello UI router. This is just to show that it is working. So I'm going to refresh the page, and we've got a big hello UI router. So what it did is it looked for that UI view, and it inserted that template in there, as well as spun it up with the main controller. But obviously that's not very useful. So I'm going to paste our application in here, or paste the contents of the main HTML page into here. And let's refresh the page. And so from here, it looks just like how we had it, but we've started to introduce the state machine. And in the next lesson, we're actually going to introduce name views where we will actually have a specific view for categories and a specific view for bookmarks. And things start to get really powerful, and you can do some really neat things by targeting specific pieces of your layout with templates for specific states, as well as having or organizing your controllers into your view. So now you no longer have a large controller, but you have very small granular controllers for specific pieces in your page. Stay tuned for the next lesson. I'll see you then.